because your 19-year-old is now off at his first real apartment.
That's right.
And there are so many of our viewers that are watching. They're starting their first homes, first apartments, first condos. Maybe they're even just going into residence at university. But there are certain things you want to keep in mind when you are moving out for your first time. So first, let's take a look at Dempsey.
Okay, sure.
Your 19-year-old baby.
Yes.
There he is. His little ukulele. So
tiny...
he's gone to be an actor.
Yes.
Right, he's doing acting
much
school.
to his father's chagrin.
I know.
Yes.
He'll make it work, though. He's determined. I mean, he saved up all of his money. Yeah. This trunk there is a trunk that you put together for him, and it's almost all the essentials you feel need to be in his first apartment.
That's right. So it actually kind of started as a bit of a joke, because my kids tease me that I'm such a fanatic about no packaging and natural materials and things like that.
Yeah.
So I thought, how far can I push it? Can I kit out an entire apartment on a budget and still, still respect those principles that I'm preaching?
Okay.
So I like to talk about no waste.
Yes.
So everything was packaged, everything was wrapped in towels or in pillowcases, so that literally he just got there, had to unpack, and he'd be using everything.
That's very smart.
Yeah.
So that way everything you're wrapping it is stuff that you're going to be using in your place anyways.
Exactly, exactly. And when you're working with a small space, storage is always an issue. I mean, it doesn't matter what your square footage is, it's always the #1 complaint. So I always look for items that can do double duty. So this trunk itself can then be used as a table. It can store your extra blankets or your extra linens or your sweaters, whatever. And little items too, like a lot of times you don't have a double sink. So a simple strainer like this can just sit on top of your sink. You can wash your vegetables, or you can use it to strain whatever, a dish dryer.
Right.
It's kind of like, just look at things in terms of, okay, how can I use this? If I've got such a small space, it's got to be doing a couple of different things for me.
Very smart.
Yes.
So the other thing you believe in is actually buying quality.
Yes.
So a lot of people who are starting out, and I know this was the situation for me, I went and I bought the cheapest pots and pans I could find.
Exactly.
And burnt them immediately.
I know,
You know, they're not, I don't know if they even last my 4 years of university. And so it kind of makes sense to invest in pieces you're going to be able to keep for a long time.
Yes. When I was 25 years ago, my mom gave me a pan, and I thought she was nuts, because she actually pretty much threatened me with my life if I didn't take care of it.
Yeah.
To this day, it is the most used piece in our house, and it has gotten us through. It lasts. So that mindset of, I got to kit it all out cheap and cheerful, it ends up costing you more in the long run. And of course, our planet, right? Because the stuff is getting thrown out, and where does it go? So actually, in terms of natural materials, those things biodegrade. So I'm huge on natural linens, wools, things like that. They actually age better. Wood, scrubbed, beautiful scrubbed butcher blocks have soul, character, whereas a lot of the synthetic materials, they resist aging at first, but then they fall apart. They start peeling, and then you're throwing it out. So for the big ticket items, invest. Buy less if you have to.
Yes.
But collect the best that you can afford. And I wish I had known that starting out.
That's right. And you don't need a lot, especially if you're living in 200 square feet.
I know.
You just need a couple of pieces of furniture, and then, the rest is sort of makeshift.
Yes.
I love that you're using mason jars here for your organization. This is something to think about. You're using glass, a good resource that's sustainable.
Exactly.
And you just use multiples. It looks good.
Right. So if you have very little storage, you're going to have to display a lot of your wares.
Right.
But if you keep in mind to keep your jars or your containers identical, it just makes it look like order. I mean, the human eye is drawn to symmetry. So it stops looking like chaos, and it looks kind of cool.
Right.
So keep things the same. All white dishes, if they have to be visible, it looks clean.
It does.
So those are sort of things, and then you can use it as decor. Use it as part of your decor, because that's the fun part about getting your first place is, you want it to look great. But usually you're like, oh no, there's nothing left. There's no money left.
Yeah.
Well, art, anything you use to display it can be art. So, I love these black and white photos. I mean, if you saw, you'd be amazed what Robert De Niro can do for a grungy bathroom in terms of elevating it. Honestly, it was the grungiest bathroom. We were gonna put this up in his living room, but it turned out there was no living room. So we've got him right on top of the toilet, and it's just a sense of humor. That wink can go a long way in terms of creating impact.
So it's just a grungy bathroom, but you throw sort of an edgy piece of art in there.
Exactly, and you relate it to something in the room. So it's like right on top of that toilet, so it does create that impact. And like I said, a sense of humor truly can, it goes a long way.
Everything is art and personality.
Everything is art. Books, your vinyls, wherever you display them. You can get a picture rail, pop them up, looks great.
And of course, all the cool kids want to hang out at Dempsey's place now because it's well done.
It is an absolute hovel, but it is cool.
Great tips for anyone out there with their first place.